Hey, this is Chan for Different Skill, and I'm bringing you a video on my Galaxy Blau deck profile, which, if you guys noticed, I have done already, but it was in this smelly, shitty quality, so I will do this again. It's also not just the same thing, so you don't have to tune out right away. I'm going to be talking about, because before I didn't play it very much, I played it for like one day, and then I made the profile. So, this time I'm going to be talking about kind of quickly the deck, options you could choose for the deck, and what the deck is good at and whatnot, and all those little strategy kind of things. So let's start off with my grade 3 lineup. So I'm playing 3 Galaxy Blau Kruger. Galaxy Blau Kruger is grade 3, 11k, and he is a cross ride of Stern Blau Kruger, which is from an old set. Galaxy Blau Kruger's ability is, whenever a Blau Kruger unit hits your opponent's Vanguard, if it doesn't actually say the next part, because the next part is confusing, so I'm going to just explain it in a very intuitive way. If a Blau Kruger unit attack hits the Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, discard 2 cards, counterblast 2, restand Galaxy Blau Kruger and the unit behind it. This can only be used if it is the first time a Blau Kruger unit has hit the Vanguard. So it says it weirdly on the card. It's like, you cannot use this ability even if the cost is paid, and then it says the next time this turn or something. It's like once per turn you can only do this, and it's kind of hard to explain, but mainly it just says that it has to be the first attack or else it just doesn't work. So that's why it's not as amazing. Against 2k we have Stern Blau Kruger in the soul, hence cross ride, so that's what he does. He's very good. 3 Mont Blau Kruger. Mont Blau Kruger is a break ride that has little to no synergy with the Vanguard, because, well, it kind of does, at the same time kind of not. So Mont Blau Kruger's effect is when you ride a grade 3 Nova Grappler on top of this unit, that unit gains plus 10,000 and gains the ability until the end of turn. When this unit declares an attack, counterblast 1, restand all your rear guards. So the way that this does not work well is because if you have a Galaxy Blau Kruger and then you break ride it and then you attack with these guys first, you can't attack their Vanguard, because if you attack their Vanguard and they take it, you can't restand Galaxy Blau. So you have to attack his rear guards. Unless he's at 5 damage, then he has to block them. Then in that case, Galaxy Blau Kruger doesn't really do anything, because if anything hits the Vanguard, he's dead unless he gets a heal trigger. So in a sense it's really a non-bow, but it's not bad because you can just attack both rear guards, and if he has only one rear guard, you just attack it once, he doesn't block for it, then you just restand this one. It's not that big of a deal. I think the 10,000 on the Vanguard is definitely more important, but it's not a horrible break ride. I mean, if you break ride Mond onto Mond, it's not bad either, because you can just get extra attacks for that turn. It doesn't cost you very much, it costs you the Mond Blau Kruger and 1 counterblast. So it's not that bad. And if you live the dream and your opponent is at like 3 damage because he had a lot of heals or he was guarding very early, you can just go like attack, and then attack with this, restand these guys. If this hits, restand it. Attack with these guys again, then attack with this, counterblast 1 again, restand these, and attack. And then you just get like a bajillion attacks. Kind of like the Ethics Buster, Ethics Buster break ride with Ethics Buster reverse, but more situational and costs counterblast. So it costs 4 counterblast to do that, where the other one costs like what, 1 or 2, because Ethics is a consistent restand. But all in all, if you live the dream, you live the dream. If you don't, it's not bad either. Most of the time, I don't end up even break riding it, but if you had to choose to ride a grade 3, this would be probably not a bad choice. This is because it's a very anti-limit break deck, because as long as you're in limit break, your opponent can't get to limit break unless they let Galaxy Blau Kruger restand. That's basically that simple, because, okay, so if any of my rear guards hit you, I gotta restand it, and if it hits you, I gotta restand it anyways. So you're at 3, take it, get to limit break, or never get to limit break until you're out of cards and you're just at the mercy of Galaxy Blau Kruger. So at that point, I think that if your deck really needs limit break, say you're playing Link Joker or something, where limit break is quite important, I'd say you just have to take it and just deal with it. Because if you don't, or even if you don't have the cards in hand to block all three of his attacks, then he gets to restand. He's really good early, so that's why another kind of non-bow with the Break Ride. Because the theme of this deck, it's very aggressive, early game oriented. You hit grade 3, you play this, you attack, and then they block it or they don't block it, and then they lose. And then it's really tempo based. Like if you're having a bad time with this deck, you're probably not gonna win that game. Because when you get to the late game, this deck, even though you get a lot of hand advantage, it's still at heart still an aggro rush deck. So there's that. And lastly, I have one Stern Blau Kruger. Basically, I didn't want to run 4 Mond because I just didn't feel like it was that beneficial. It is an 11k, so technically I should always run that instead of this. But these are expensive for one thing, and two, this is cheaper alternative, and it's not bad. I mean, like I'm never gonna use its effect, but as a cross ride, if you occasionally get to cross ride it, it's 13k, and you get a lot of value off that. So there's that. Likewise, for these guys, you can exchange them for more Stern Blau Krugers. Like you can just play more Stern Blau Krugers if you really wanted to make it a cheaper build. You can go like 3 of these, or like 4 of these and 3 Galaxy. It's not horrible. I mean, his effect is horrible. Like sometimes I hit the effect and I'd rather use the starting Vanguard's effect instead of this. Like if you don't hit a critical trigger, there's no point in using its effect. If you hit the critical trigger, you put crit power, restand, and then you attack again. But most people will just let this hit. They don't really care. Because at this point, Counterblast 2, discard 2 cards, restand, and you lose Twin Drive is not very impressive in this current format. So you could run these instead. But no, I don't prefer the cross ride version because I feel like it slows down your deck. Playing 4 Jupiter Valkyrie, 10k beater. It's pretty good. Enough said. 3 Blau Kruger, and mines are shiny now, as you can see. I was gonna get SP ones, but I didn't feel like it was worth it. But thinking back, probably should have ordered the SP ones. They're only like $7, so I should have got some SP ones. Blau Kruger is an unflipper in the Vanguard zone, apparently, because I didn't know that before either. So it's really good. In fact, you could say that you have like a really good rush with just him and another card, which is Mars Blau Kruger. So I would suggest 3 or 4, 4 preferably. But I didn't want to play cards that did nothing in the rearguard zone, that many at least. So I only have 3. I probably will get a 4th one sometime in the future because Mars is not amazing, but it's pretty good. So there's that. And then 4 Mars Blau Kruger, and of course I have 4 of these. So Mars Blau Kruger's effect is if your Vanguard hits your opponent's if your Vanguard attack hits your opponent's Vanguard, Counterblast 1 restand plus 5k. So the way this works is that if you open like these 2 guys, and then a grade 1, like say for example this Tough Boy, you ride it, you move back, play this, call it here, attack with this, and if it hits or it doesn't hit, the guard for it, attack with this, or like because you wrote it, and then you have your starting Vanguard here, you attack, they don't block it, you go Counterblast 1, restand, effect, unflip, and then effect, Counterblast 1 again. Use your starting Vanguard to search for cards, plus 5k, so even if they get a trigger, you still get to hit through, and if you get a trigger, you can add it onto Mars as well. And if you had more rear guards, well, that just adds to it. So that's what makes these 2 guys like really good together. So I feel like they're just really, really good. And also, this deck is a rush deck, but at the same time, it still gets to maintain its hand, as well as keeping perfect guards in your hand. Because of the starting Vanguard, it allows you to look for more cards to attack with. Because a lot of time, rush decks, you play your guys to attack, they die, and then you're just like, okay, and then you just go like Jupiter off the Mongenrot that I just got. So it can replenish your hand to keep playing cards to attack people, and I don't know, it's just very, it flows very well. Some people say that they want to play this guy, which is Grace Bear, which is a 12k attacker for Blau Kruger, but at the same time his name is not Blau Kruger. I don't like playing these at all, not even like 1. Even if you asked me to play 1, I'd be like, no, don't do it. Because at any point where you go, sweet, a card to attack with, and then you realize it's not a Blau Kruger, and that they can't actually, like, you can't trigger Galaxy off this. The only time this card is ever good is if, say, for example, you go like, Mond, Break Ride, and you hit this guy, say like, let's just make a field, a really optimal field apparently. Something like this. The only good thing about this is that you can attack the Vanguard with this guy, with boost, and even if it hits, it doesn't count, because he's not a Blau Kruger. Technically it's working to your advantage. Then you go attack with this guy for 20, and they go, block it, I guess? Like, if they don't block it, they take more damage. But at the same time, when they take more damage, they're probably not planning on, like, they probably were planning on just barely surviving these anyways. Or if they take this at 4 and go to 5, your Galaxy Blau Kruger technically can't restand because they'll die. And then you attack with this, like, oh, it's a Blau Kruger, you had to block this, like, okay, I blocked this. You attack with this, you restand these guys. And then, or this guy, I guess. And then you go, okay, power, power, power. And they go attack with this guy, and then he has the option to take it. So, say he was at 4 after that, he perfect guarded this and guarded this the first time. Attack with this and attack with this, he has the option of taking this and just guarding this one. So that's why it's not very good to have attackers that are not Blau Kruger. So that's why I play all Blau Kruger, grade 2 or higher. So there's that. And as you saw before, 3 Tough Boys. Tough Boy, mainly because he's 8k, and since I'm playing 10k vanillas, like these guys, and also the one Stern Blau Kruger, these can help me hit 18, while otherwise I need a grade 3 and then any grade 1 to hit 18. This is especially relevant with all these cross break rides now, like Gancelot Zenith, Mordred Dragon, or Drag Ruler Phantom. I call it Mordred Dragon because I still like calling it that. Minerva is apparently 13k. Yeah, I don't know. It just is. And, you know, like Draconic Overload, the Rebirth is 13k. So there's all these things that are now 13k. It really depends on the format you're playing in. If you're playing in English, I don't think there's as many cross breaks. And if they're just cross-riding like the old-fashioned Draconic Overload at the end, it doesn't matter. Your cards are better than theirs. So it doesn't really matter at that point. So that's why I play these. Interchangeable with these, which is the Mars Blau Kruger in the grade 1 form. If this had the word Blau Kruger in its name, I'd definitely play it instead. In fact, I didn't play it instead of the 10k attackers, and I'd still keep Tough Boys. But they're not. They do the exact same thing as Mars, except it's a grade 1, and it's 7,000. So, one thing that this card is not, the reason why it's not good, it's only good if you go first. Because if you go first, you play like Tough Boy, go. And then you go Blau Kruger, this, attacker 7k, and if they roll an 8k, this card's useless. Attacker 7k with this, attack with this, counterblast 1, unflip, restand plus 5k, search, and then it's really good. But at the same time, that's the only time it's good. But with Mars and this, it's good even if you go second. You go, okay, you have a 9k, ride, call this, attack, restand, power, search. And it feels a lot better because it's really, basically, there's always a booster. I always ride this card, so might as well ride Tough Boy. Okay, so 3 Tough Boys. You could go 4 and play 1 less of these, but at the same time I feel like these guys help a lot with just being the convenience of going 7 in the back, 10 in the front, 7 in the back, 10 in the front. Even though most of the time you don't want him in the front, but I like the versatility. Speaking of which, Polar Stern, 7k attacker plus 3k when you have a Blau Kruger unit as a Vanguard. Quite good. 4 Claydol mechanic, unflips damage, keep farming that starting Vanguard. It's the best. Like, with this deck, if you play conservatively, you hit like 10 cards in hand really easily, and if you're playing aggressively, you maintain around 6, so it's pretty good. 4 Perfect Guard, you definitely need 4 Perfect Guard in this deck. It's just so good. Especially because you're starting Vanguard. And since I've been talking about the starting Vanguard a lot, I might as well explain what it does. Starting Vanguard is, as long as he exists on the field, if your Vanguard attack hits your opponent's Vanguard, and your Vanguard has the name Blau. So basically, if your grade 2 or higher Vanguard attack hits the Vanguard, counterblast 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck for a Blau unit, and add it to your hand. This guy's a Blau, everything here and onward is a Blau. So you search for Perfect Guards, you add them to your hand, you search Perfect Guard, add them to your hand, and you just feel so good. Especially against decks like Dragon Nova, the Rebirth, it's just like, okay, lock 5, and you just go. You just throw the 2 perfect cards at them, go. Because they can't add it anywhere else. They have to add it to the Vanguard. So decks like that, you just go. And then, and then you see them look really sad. They just drive check, discard 2, drive check, go. But yeah, there's that. So that's why this deck has, it feels really powerful, especially like in comparative to something like Eradicators, which generally has a lower hand size, which is also aggressive. You can play this, keep perfect guards in your hand by finding them, or just more shield value in general, or finding cards for you to discard for your perfect guards that you opened with, and whatnot. My dog is barking for no apparent reason at 2 a.m., so there's that. And then, like, they go, okay, you ride Restanding Vanguard, attack, get crit on it, attack again, and you perfect guard it. And then it's just like, or you perfect guard, if you really had